Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my NFL, AFC, NFC Championship predictions, where I pick both of the championship games. And the first game we've got at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, San Francisco coming off that great defensive performance against Dallas. They're on the road in Philly. Philadelphia absolutely crushing the Giants. That is a game I just completely got wrong. Philadelphia well-rested, Jalen Hurts looking good, and they just simply bullied the Giants. Now, Philadelphia listed -2.5. After I make my picks, I'm going to go to how the betting is setting up and show everyone who the general public is on, who the pros are on. I will say every model I looked at loved the under 45.5. I don't know if it's been bet down yet, but when I saw the over-under in this game at 45.5, everyone loved the under, and I do have to agree. San Francisco plays a style of football where they want to keep it close more times than not, especially going on the road. Probably going to be lower scoring. Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, basically impossible to predict. You know, Brock Purdy, you would, at this point, I'm guessing we would expect Brock Purdy to play well, which is crazy to think about considering he's a 7th-round rookie. But guys, it is Philadelphia. They are at home. They've got the better quarterback. They've got the more explosive offense, and you are facing a rookie QB. San Francisco overall, you know, they might have better roster talent. They do have Nick Bosa, who's probably going to at least get a sack or two, maybe ruin a drive. But Philadelphia, their offensive line is more healthy. Jalen Hurts is more healthy. They absolutely bullied the Giants. The Giants aren't that great, but still, that was a really impressive performance. And then San Francisco, you know, good home win against Dallas, but a lot of that was Dak Prescott. He threw 2 crippling interceptions that you just can't throw. I think that game is completely different if Dak Prescott takes care of the ball better. San Francisco did have a tough time moving the ball against that Dallas defense. They only scored 19 total points. And again, they got several turnovers. So I like Philadelphia based off of how these two teams performed last week. The one bet I would say a lot of people like is the under in this game, whether or not you want to go in on Philadelphia -2.5. Personally, I would pass. I'm not interested in betting Philly -2.5. I think they'll win, but I don't know if they'll cover because San Francisco is a really good team. I would expect a lower scoring game in that one. And then the nightcap, the 6:30 game on CBS, it is Cincinnati coming off that crazy win. Guys, so the one thing I always hear people say that the NFL is fixed, the NFL is scripted. A game like that, I'm not going to say it proves that the NFL isn't fixed, but, I mean, that was a horrible game. The Buffalo-Cincinnati game, you want to talk about a snooze fest. Cincinnati in control the entire time. Buffalo, you would think, there was just no ability to come back. And I actually think the snow ended up hurting Buffalo because they were playing from behind on that wet surface. They always say the wet surface favors the receivers, but I really don't think that's the case when it's that slick. But Cincinnati makes no sense. They were missing 3 offensive linemen. Buffalo, I mean, my goodness, has Buffalo been bad in terms of the draft recently with the defensive linemen they've picked? You're investing high-round picks into multiple D linemen, and they can't even get to Joe Burrow facing second-string offensive linemen. That game makes no sense, but it's the NFL. That's how it works. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow. I mean, at this point, Joe Burrow has pretty much proved, based on the last 2 years, that he is a franchise quarterback, that he is probably a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. You can argue, is he in front of Josh Allen at this point? Mahomes probably number 1, winning another MVP. Kansas City is at home. What makes this game really miserable is the fact that Mahomes has that injury, and we're not sure how healthy he will be. The rumor is he's obviously going to play, but it's not going to be 100%. So the injury is going to hamper him to at least some degree. That's why Cincinnati is actually a 1.5 favorite. And it's weird, guys, because I'm going against the historical trend here. It's so hard to get back to the Super Bowl. If Cincinnati wins this game, they do get back to the Super Bowl. And it's so hard to beat Mahomes 4 times in a row, which is what Joe Burrow would be doing. It is remarkable. If Joe Burrow wins this game, that's 4 straight wins against the Chiefs over the past 2 seasons. It seems improbable, especially on the road. The main concern I have with Kansas City, I know Isaiah Pacheco's been really good. I do have concerns about their rushing offense, and I do have concerns about their ability to generate explosive plays with Mahomes possibly being hobbled. Also, Cincinnati is impossible to predict. They're missing their 3 top offensive linemen, and their O-line actually plays better. So it's like, I don't even know. They might get some of them back, but I'll go with Cincinnati to win this game 24-21, cover the 1.5 point spread, and that would be a Joe Burrow v. Jalen Hurts Super Bowl. Really, these matchups, man, I was thinking, not that they're boring, but Cincinnati, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Kansas City, they're always around the Super Bowl with Mahomes. And then you've got Philadelphia, who was in the Super Bowl not too long ago with Nick Foles, and they beat Brady. And then you have the 49ers, who were in the Super Bowl with Jimmy G just a few years ago. I think the most interesting storyline out of all of these games, we know Joe Burrow is Cincinnati's franchise quarterback. We know Mahomes is Kansas City's franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts looks more and more like Philadelphia's. What does San Francisco do in the offseason, no matter what happens? Whether they win this game and lose in the Super Bowl, whether they lose this game, do they stick with Brock Purdy? Do they try and trade Trey Lance? What is Trey Lance's value at this point, being the former number 3 overall pick who's barely played? It's all interesting, but guys, right now what I want to do is go to the official betting data and see who everyone is placing bets on. So these are the updated numbers, and this is all available for the public just on the PFF Green Line little tab. And you can see San Francisco at Philadelphia. You've got tons of money coming in on Philadelphia, minus the 2.5. The general public a little more lenient overall to San Francisco, the road team, but a lot of the smart money coming in on Philly to cover at home, minus 2.5. And then again, I'm telling you guys, the one bet in terms of the analytical models is the under in the San Francisco-Philadelphia game, 45.5 right now, 97% of the money in on the under. The general public, a lot more split. But I would say there is value on the under in that one. And then you have Cincinnati and Kansas City. This line originally was a pick'em, but this is not surprising. Whenever there's an injury concern and you've got someone like Joe Burrow who's healthy, who's ready to go, you're going to see a lot of people trust Cincinnati against Mahomes, who possibly is injured and could be hampered for this game. Cincinnati getting 75% of the money. A lot of people really like Cincy, 81% of the total tickets on them to cover 1.5 points on the road. And then the over-under, very split. We've got the overall cash flow in on the under, 69% of the money coming in the under 47, as opposed to overall the general popular bet. They like the over with more tickets being placed on the over, 66%. So right now I would say the smart money is on Philadelphia minus 2.5, the under 45.5 in the San Francisco-Philadelphia game. And then there's really, I would say, maybe the under 47 in the Cincinnati-Kansas City game. That is where the overall smart money is on. Also, we've got a lot of money line bets coming in for Cincinnati, and we've got a lot of money line bets coming in for Philadelphia. So, if you look at this, I would say the 2 favorites to make the Super Bowl we're looking at a potential Philadelphia v. Cincinnati matchup. But again, that would be a major trend that Cincinnati would be bucking. It's very hard to go to back-to-back in terms of going to the Super Bowl. It's very hard to beat Patrick Mahomes 4 times in a row. It simply doesn't happen. So this would be crazy, and that would set up a pretty unique matchup. I think the NFL probably wants Philadelphia to win. And then if I had to guess, it's tough with Kansas City because Mahomes is injured, but they probably want Mahomes in the Super Bowl if I had to guess. But it really, to me, the NFL is thinking it's a win-win whether Cincinnati or Kansas City goes because it's Mahomes or Burrow. But I do think, as good of a story as Brock Purdy is, they probably want Jalen Hurts and that Philadelphia team in the Super Bowl after, all these teams have made the Super Bowl recently, but Philadelphia, the last time they made it maybe was like 2018 or 2017. So, guys, that is just a full breakdown on the AFC, NFC Conference Championship games. Both of these games will be played outdoors. The original weather I heard in Philadelphia, it's going to be 37 degrees and cloudy, so a little bit colder, which should give them a slight advantage facing a warm weather team in San Francisco. And then the game in Kansas City, you would figure maybe 40 degrees and clear. We got that snow in Buffalo, which really, I can't believe Buffalo, man. I think Buffalo's front office is really overrated. Guys, the thing is, when a team gets a franchise quarterback, people really start overrating the front offices because they only base their opinion off of how good the franchise quarterback is. So people think Buffalo's front office is this great. It's like the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay has a terrible front office, but people think they're good because they had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. But they've made horrible decisions ever since then. Either way, guys, we will see what happens when it comes to these 2 championship games. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.